Hi everyone, welcome to the 7th episode of the K-Pop Bible. It's Angel,
Cece,
and Lee.
Now before we dive into today, we do want to give a content warning that we'll be discussing some sensitive topics, including SA, also known as sexual assault, as well as LGBTQIA plus issues. Now, let's give a little recap about what we're going to talk about. We're talking about hot topics like Taeil's case, a little mini Bigbang reunion, also some military updates, going through a little bit of Milan Fashion Week and who was there from the K-pop side. We're also going to go into our music reviews, including Jaehyun's Smoke and our favorite song that never plays. And then we'll dive into our more serious conversation about should idols vocalize their support for LGBTQIA plus rights in South Korea. So now, let's get the ball rolling with episode 7 of the K-Pop Bible.
So the first hot topic we'll discuss today is NCT 127's Taeil faces allegations of sexual assault. After these allegations came to light, Taeil was quickly removed from the group, and police confirmed that the alleged victim is not of the same sex and a legal adult. Taeil since has privated his Instagram account. He had about 4.9 million followers and lost 1 million people overnight, including his group members. Then on September 13, we got another update from the police that his case has been sent to prosecution, but he hasn't been arrested. So what are our thoughts? Why do we think SM kept Lucas but decided to kick out Taeil immediately?
Well, I definitely think the difference between the two situations is with Mr. Moon, allegedly there's an actual victim that has come forward and filed a report against him. With the Lucas situation, yes, we had a lot of accusers, but we didn't have anyone directly come out, file a report. We didn't see someone taking legal action. It was just a lot of she said, he said. But in this situation, there's an actual victim. There's actually a police report. There's actually a case pending. And so this is something that SM really couldn't finagle. This is something that you can't really wait out. It's a case. And so in the States, we do have the innocent till proven guilty. Korea is not really the same. Public opinion tends to carry a lot of weight. And I don't think in the current climate of what's happening, I don't think the public would have stand beside him. And so I think SM, to protect their interest, they had to let him go. There's a chance that he could be innocent in all this. Again, innocent till proven guilty. But, these court cases take a very long time. And I don't think that they could have waited it out to see if he may or may not have been, guilty. So I think that's the main difference.
So first of all, between this and Lucas, I feel like both cases were very different, where Lucas's case revolved more around older women, and it was a consensual sort of sometimes a situationship, maybe not relationship, maybe it was, but some type of relations perhaps allegedly were happening. So I think that's like a major difference. And with this, it's really like an assault case that's being brought to the table. And also, we're not, or I'll speak for myself, I'm not fluent in the laws of South Korea, but I do feel like, especially as it pertains to idols, where idols are idolized, like that's the whole point of being an idol. In a case of this matter, especially after what happened with Burning Sun, if you were there in the trenches, or if you checked out one of our episodes of K-Pop Bible where we discussed Burning Sun, then you'd know that, that is something that is taken very seriously. And for once, SM, in my opinion, did something smart by just going, you know what? We got people who can sing, and if we don't, we can get a backtrack going. So I think that, this is being taken care of for now in a swift manner, and we'll see what happens.
I think what's interesting is that the police had to step forward and clarify that the victim is of the opposite sex, because there were rumors swirling that it could have been a same-sex crime, because if we remember, there's an actor that's also being alleged of the same thing. He was recently cleared from that. But I think it's just kind of interesting to see how, the police isn't really saying anything else much, but they had to clarify at that one point. There's also been a lot of misinformation online, and especially on TikTok. I know as soon as the news came out, a lot of fans of Taeil were making TikToks, burning their photo cards, burning their albums. Some of them were more in a serious light, and others were a little bit more lighthearted and seemed like it was kind of making fun of the whole situation. And I just wanted to take a moment to remind our viewers about the serious nature of sexual assault. Sexual assault is not something you should joke about. I understand as a fan of K-pop and as a fan of Taeil, you might have a million different emotions once you heard this news, but making fun of the situation is definitely not something that you should do. Yeah, you can make fun of Taeil, but you have to think about it from the perspective of the actual person who experienced this. Me, myself, I've experienced sexual assault when I was younger. So for me, whenever I see situations like this, it doesn't trigger me as much as it did when I was younger, but I always think about it from the perspective of someone that has been through it, and to just see all the jokes being made online and like people also coming out with like fake Twitter accounts saying that they were victims. And it's just like all of this really just makes it harder for actual victims to come out and speak about these topics, as we see right now in America with the whole P. Diddy situation. But as this conversation now translates to K-pop, I would just like to remind our viewers, like, this is definitely something we did not expect, but at the same time, let's make sure that we think about these victims. We don't know how many people are. I know just one person has been confirmed, but you never know with these situations. So for our listeners that live in the United States, there is a national sexual assault hotline that was created by Rain, and it is available 24 hours. So if you are a victim of sexual assault or would like to speak to someone about it, you can call their number. It is 1-800-656-4673. And if you're not comfortable talking to someone over the phone, you can also chat with someone online through their website. Their website is www.online.rainn.org. Do you have any advice for fans of NCT or Taeil who this might be the first time they ever go through something like this? You know, a lot of fans are young and some people might not have experienced a sexual assault. Some do. What is advice that you have to his fans right now?
If it's your first time going through something like this, it probably feels like the veil has been ripped off, where at first you might get into K-pop and there's this whole thing of like, oh, but all these idols are perfect. It's like, yes, that's by design. It's by design to make you fall in love with these people who then in some way, shape, or form kind of embody a character, their alter ego, when they step on stage or they go to their fan meets. So if you were used to all of those interactions of seeing them in concert, going to their fan signs, and now you learn about this news about, their lives when they're not public facing, it can hurt. It can be devastating. Know that you're not alone in this. Others have gone through similar situations. And also just remember that your favorite idols are still people. And some people do great things and some people do horrible things. And right now it's up to the courts, it's up to the law to kind of go from here. What you can do as a fan is just not support their endeavors. Like, of course, if you want to support the rest of the members of NCT, by all means, go support their individual endeavors, go support, the projects that they have coming out. But in particular, to any idols that aren't doing great things, there are things that you do not enjoy, don't support them, don't follow them, don't interact or engage with it. Kind of wipe their memory from your life in a way. And while that may sound kind of harsh to say, it'll be better for you in the long run to just kind of go, you know what? It's up to the courts now.
There's also been a fake list floating around implicating other idols in the Ninth Room scandal. And the reason I say it's a fake list is because there is no source. Despite that, a lot of people keep spreading this list all over TikTok and Twitter. Do you think people trying to find a connection between the Ninth Room, the Burning Sun scandal, and Taeil's case is something that should happen at the same time? Or should we treat these cases individually?
Looking at the Burning Sun to looking at what Taeil was happening in the Ninth Room, these are very different situations, and these situations need to be handled with their own lens, their own investigation, their own point of view. Again, these situations, being essayed, can happen to anyone, and I think that again, people have their own individual dramas and motivations behind these things. And so Burning Sun, I think, and the stuff that's happening with P. Diddy is kind of, they're different, but they're the same as, I think people have been very aware that this stuff happens in the Korean entertainment industry. And I think what's happening is, I think how the Burning Sun scandal was mishandled legally, the fact that a lot of these perpetrators had very light sentences, they wasn't really much a lot of reformations to the victims. It just seems like all the frustration from that is being put into the Ninth Room, being put in the Taeil situation. And I think people do want these idols that has been given, the privilege of wealth, money, celebrity, to be held accountable for their wrongdoings and held accountable to the highest extent of what that is. And so I think that's what's happening here. And I am all for people being held accountable. I'm all for people being, I'm all for justice. But I think we need to proceed with a very clear head because, and I'm not defending him, but there is a chance that he could be innocent. Again, this is a case has to happen. Evidence has to be presented. And I just think before we make opinions about if he's innocent or guilty or, or carry that what happened with Sungri and his accomplices over to him, I think we should let the courts and we should let them proceed and do what they do. And I hope that, the outcome is fair and just and the right thing happens.
So since the recording of this podcast, there has been more updates that have come out in regards to Taeil's case. So I would like to update everyone with that as well, because again, I think it is very important that we not only report on things, but that we make sure we do it accurately. It was confirmed on the 7th of October that former NCT member Moon Taeil, who had been accused of sexual assault, has been under police investigation for aggravated quasi-rape. Mr. Moon was investigated at the Seoul Bangpei police station for charges of quasi-rape and was then transferred to the Seoul Central District Prosecutor's Office on the 12th of September. It has been revealed that the prosecution has not yet summoned Mr. Moon. According to this coverage, Mr. Moon was accused in June for the sexual assault of a drunk woman along with 2 acquaintances. 2 months after the accusation, he was summoned once for investigation on August 28th. It was reported that none of the acquaintances who committed the crime with him are famous people. Aggravated quasi-rape is established when a person either is in possession of a weapon or in collaboration with 2 or more people rapes a person who is incapable of resisting due to the state of mental or physical incapacity. If the charge is confirmed, the person will be sentenced to 7 years in prison or life imprisonment, according to Article 4, Section 1 of the Special Act on the Punishment of Sexual Violent Crimes. Regarding Mr. Moon's aggravated quasi-rape charges, an SM representative said, "The matter is currently under investigation, so it is difficult to make a comment." And just a few minutes ago, it was also revealed that the victim is a foreigner woman. And under all these new updates, there has been a lot of discussion in regards to SM and why they haven't terminated Taeil's contract. Legally speaking, we have to look at why SM hasn't broken the contract with Taeil. So according to a tweet made by a Touchbase, which is an account on Twitter that usually translates articles about K-pop news or the Korean entertainment industry, they stated that it is a violation to terminate a contract when someone is still in the contract period. And if they do, the company must pay a fine for the termination. But based on the company Q report, the contract will be terminated if the case is already in the court decision, as in the final verdict has been reached. So according to this, SM is unable to terminate the contract currently because he's still being investigated. So until there is a final verdict in this case, that is when they'll be able to release him from the contract. Now, I think that this brings in a lot of other discussions in terms of ethics and morality, whether or not it is ethical to continue to have this person under their company at this time. But again, SM has a contract with Taeil, and it seems like they don't want to pay out an early termination fee for him, which I guess at the end of the day is a good thing because he will be able to receive that money if his contract is terminated early. Other discussions I've seen have centered around the fact that the victim is a foreigner, and some people have made comments that Taeil probably thought that the victim was not going to report the crime, and because laws in South Korea are very minimal when it comes to protecting the rights of foreigners. Again, I think that we need to think about the actual victim in this scenario and leave these sorts of discussions outside of social media. I can't imagine the amount of pain and emotional turmoil that this victim is currently in. And for that matter, I think that we need to be a lot more careful about the discussions that we have about this case in public. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I am a victim of sexual assault, and even though now I am comfortable about it, that is not the same case for everyone. Everyone deals with their trauma very differently, and I would just like to say to the victim that I am really, really, really sorry that you went through this, and that I hope you take the time you need to recover both mentally and physically. You are not your trauma, and I hope that you are still able to accomplish anything that you desire in life. And right now, I hope that you are surrounded by your loved ones and your friends, and that you get to take time for yourself to truly heal and process what has happened.
Now, moving on to talk about the group where that man was from, let's talk about Bigbang's mini reunion. As a VIP, super happy that this happened. And what is this, you ask? Oh, it's just that GD and Taeyang came together to perform Good Boy for the first time in over 10 years during Taeyang's solo concert, The Light Year. Cece, what else went down?
So Daesang later joined them on stage to perform other Big Bang songs. And yeah, a lot of VIPs were really happy because their anniversary came up in August. So this was the first time we've seen them reunited as a group. But there seems to be some friction within the group. So we all know Seungri is no longer part of Big Bang. But Top also seems to have distanced himself away from the group. We saw on Instagram that fans who kept tagging him on posts relating to Big Bang and also GD were being blocked by Top. What do we think happened between Top and Big Bang, especially Top and GD? Why do we think that they're no longer best friends? And do we think Top is like trolling? Because, you know, he likes to troll a lot on Instagram. Or do you think he actually is not talking to his bandmates?
Isn't he still focused on going to space?
So actually that exploration was canceled.
Ooh.
So yeah, he's no longer going to space.
I think he needs to tend to his mental health.
I think the reason why maybe he's distancing himself is the fact when he did leave Big Bang initially, it was in the midst of that horrible drug scandal. His mental health was declining. He tried to unalive himself. I do think that he has an issue with the YG camp entirely. I think, remember when, GD had his drug, not scandal, but his little drug moment, YG was quick to defend him. They were quick to debunk things. They stood by him versus when Top went through his situation. I think it also involved marijuana. You saw that he was pretty much left out in a very dark ocean with no paddle and just relying on the current. And I do think going through that situation, to want to unalive yourself, to feel so lonely and isolated and abandoned, and to think the only solution is to hurt yourself like that, I think has probably left a scar on him, not just on the situation, but on the industry, himself. Like, he learned the very hard way of people can love you one day, live for you, idolize you, and then when you have a hiccup or a little friction, you're suddenly this pariah. People are tearing you down. People are literally getting in mobs to tear you down. And so I totally see him being like, okay, this is lovely. I'm over this. I've left the industry. I'm selling my expensive bottles of wine. When I needed you guys weren't there for me. So no, I'm not about to get on stage and reunite and make money with you. You know what I mean? And so I do think that, that could be that. I mean, it could be trolling, he is messy, a little bit, but I think that it could just be, there is a little bit of PTSD, and I don't think that he really wants to deal with it.
Now, moving on to members of Bigbang who are more active in the music industry right now, GD is rumored to be making a solo comeback in October. But be mindful that October is going to be packed with bop after bop. We have Jennie of Blackpink making her solo debut. We have aespa making a comeback. Illit making a comeback. Misamo making a comeback. Kiss of Life with their comeback. ITZY comeback. Stacy comeback. Baby Monster comeback. And 17 comeback. Prepare your wallets, but first, let's stay focused on JD. Cece, what's the download?
So he's credited as the main producer for Baby Monster's first full album, releasing November 1st, titled Drip. Now, we got this insight because Target ended up releasing the information for the album on their website, and fans immediately caught on. What do we think about this? Are we happy to see GD finally making a comeback for music? Not just as a soloist, but also being hands-on on the production of Baby Monster's first full album. But before we get into that, some fans are also salty because it took Blackpink forever to release their first debut album. But it seems like Baby Monster's first album is coming just a couple of months after their debut. What do we think?
I think that GD is, as a longtime VIP have predicted, is stepping into his Teddy era. So he's now going to become the new Teddy. But also, I think that Baby Monster debuted in a lot of competition that I think YG wasn't anticipating, whereas Blackpink was kind of debuting and had this rev up for literally years of like, this group is coming, this group is coming. And while Baby Monster did have that rev up, the actual like launch of everything, in my opinion, was a bit less loud as other rookie groups. So I think they're just trying to really put Baby Monster in front of the public as much as possible, and stirring up this news of their first album along with a big name like GD, I think could really help bolster them in the spotlight. So it's very much like a strategic move.
I think Baby Monster was not that initial success that Blackpink was. I think, Batter Up did not get the splash I think it did. I think Baby Monster started to build momentum when they started to perform live and the talent was there. Also, I do think YG is beginning to realize that he has to adapt in the current landscape. Like, let's be honest, YG does not have a bunch of acts.
So YG Entertainment still has some heavy hitting groups, but the activity levels could be questioned. So as we have just discussed, Baby Monster under YG Entertainment, Treasure under YG Entertainment, Blackpink as a group for group activities only is under YG Entertainment. Now, technically, Winner is under YG Entertainment still. AKMU, also known as AKMU, still under YG Entertainment. Their contract is still ongoing. And Bigbang as a group under YG Entertainment. And 2NE1 is back under YG Entertainment for group activities.
Yes, they have soloists of their formerly successful groups, but I don't think YG has really much acts to compete. And I think, Baby Monster's success is something that's really important. Let's be honest, like Angel said, unfortunately, this fifth generation, the girls are working. The girls are performing. The girls are booking. And I just think it's one of these things where this whole idea of we're going to be scarce and mysterious and do one comeback a year is not working now. You know what I mean?
So we actually had a YG family reunion over the weekend. 21 finally came back and they performed in Seoul for 2 dates, I believe. And we had some members of Bigbang come through, Winner, Icon, Gummy, and Seven. But interesting enough, there were several artists that sent video messages congratulating 21 for their comeback. And some of these artists included G Idol, aespa, Baby Monster, Boy Next Door, G Dragon, IU, IVE, Kiss of Life, New Jeans, Stray Kids, Treasure, Twice, and Zico. A lot of fans were confused as to why Blackpink didn't send a message because they are the sister group of 21. What do we think?
Well, the girls are booked. The girls are busy. For all of them to be in the same room and to shoot a video, that was not in their schedule. That's not something that, and I don't think that's something that they would want to do. I wouldn't want to send a video congratulating a group that I've been for years called the knockoff of. I'm not doing that. Like, so, you know, you either get an Instagram story from me or you get nothing.
I mean, I will say Jennie did show face to the concert. So she did appear. I'm not entirely surprised, but I am a little surprised that Rosé didn't really send a message, because the Black label, while still not technically under YG anymore, it's still like very closely intertwined. Like Jisoo minds her business and gets a check. Lisa is busy under the Paris Twilight and a global citizen. And while Jennie has been preparing for her comeback, you know, it is sweet that she did like come up and show face, but also it's like GD also went. So it's like not surprising that like, cause Jennie and GD go way back and like, it's YG family for a reason. They're, even though families can be toxic, there is still that familial, like wanting to say hello and wanting to show support in other ways. And like, you don't necessarily have to send a video to show support. Like that's more like public facing PR kind of thing. But you know, maybe behind the scenes, the other members did send their support in some way, shape or form. Just the public doesn't know it. But as far as the public knows, Jennie was there.
These girls are all busy doing their own thing. And I think, like I said, it could just be a situation where no shade, it just wasn't a priority. Again, Jennie is more, from what I've seen, Jennie is a little bit more closer to the YG family. So it makes sense for her to be there. Also, you know, Mama needs some good publicity for her projects. But yeah, I don't think it's tension. It's just like, girl, we'll do that another day.
So Jennie did show up to watch 21 perform, but during one of the intermissions, Baby Monster came out and performed, and Jennie had a cute moment where she was calling them their hoonbaes. And I just wanted to mention that because I think it's cute that even though for her solo activity, she has her own company, but it seems like she, at least out of all the Blackpink members, is making an effort to come and celebrate the accomplishments of other YG artists.
Now, speaking of reunions, there's another YG group that is rumored to return. Cece, who is it?
Bigbang. So it turns out Bigbang is going to make a comeback as a full group at the 2024 Mama Awards. What do we think that actually entails? Do we think this means all the boys are reuniting minus Sungri and minus Top, or what are our thoughts?
Well, the word full, you know, on first glance makes me think that they're all coming back and doing something together. If that is the case, that's a little bold, but I think it's probably, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if full just means the active members that are part of Bigbang. Like I said, I mean, Top is looking like he doesn't really care to be an idol, or he's not jumping to do music right now. It just could just be them coming together, the 3 members doing a little medley of their greatest hits, have a moment. They might do a project together. But again, I mean, I'm just happy to see them as a former VIP. And I just think I love the whole reunion wave happening. So I'm all here for it.
And it's funny that it's happening in the Mama stage because we all remember the beef that GD has with the Mamas.
Yeah, but I think, like, isn't that not the platform to have a massive comeback? I don't know if the full lineup has been released, but let's be honest, Bigbang is probably going to be the biggest thing on that set list. Why not come back and be the king of K-pop's biggest award?
So let's move on to the next hot topic. So we are dedicating a section now to military updates because we have a lot of idols that are returning from military and other idols who are leaving us. And first on the dock today is Wonho is back. So he was recently discharged and is expected to make a comeback soon. What do we think? Are we excited for him to release new music, or are we more excited about his thirst traps?
Yeah, I'm excited to see him in those shorts, but I'm happy. He's probably come out looking more muscular, more zhuzhed.
I'm just happy.
For his music or for his thirst traps?
Both.
It's also been announced that NCT's Jaehyun and 17's Junghan will be enlisting. Junghan began his military training on September 26, and when he's done, he will carry on his service as a social service worker. Jaehyun, on the other hand, is joining the military band on November 4th and will hold a series of fan meets throughout October before he enlists.
Bum, bum, bum. Hello. This is SM Entertainment. NCT's Jaehyun applied to the Army Military Band and received a notification of acceptance from the Military Manpower Administration today. As such, he is scheduled to enlist as an active duty soldier on November 4th, 2024, to fulfill his military duty. On the day of his entry into the training camp, there will be no official event to prevent safety accidents due to the potential crowding of soldiers and families at the site. We kindly and sternly, even though they don't say that, ask for your continued support and love for Jaehyun until the day he completes his military service and returns in good health. Thank you.
What are our thoughts? Why do we think Jaehyun is enlisting so early?
Why not just get it over and done with? You know what I mean?
Well, I don't think Jaehyun's doing it like that early. Also considering like Jungkook of BTS, Mr. Cookie himself, is doing his service earlier, because BTS, please come home. So it's not that he's doing it like too early, but I'm also thinking like, especially with the Taeil news that kind of dropped, I think he's like, things are probably going to cool out for a little bit. Might as well just get this over with. And personally, since I do adore myself, Mr. Jeffrey, I'm going to be sad that he is going to be, I'm proud of him for doing his duty, doing his military service. But as a Shijini, I am a little sad to not be able to see him be active for a while. So
what do we think is going to happen to NCT's 127 upcoming tour in 2025? Because as Lee mentioned, Taeyong is already in the military. Taeil is out of the equation, and Jaehyun is joining the military.
Oh, so they lost two vocalists and the main rapper / main dancer, and Mr. Jamal is also a lead dancer. So we have, they have a whole army, no shade. I'm sure they can bring some people in to fill the spots, zhuzh it out, and call it a day. I don't think it's going to be that crazy, or I don't think it's going to hit them. Yes, I think the lineup is going to be different. But also, I think the six remaining members are all talented in their own right. So I definitely think this might be good. Maybe Johnny can step up and take Taeyang's rap lines because he is also a rapper. And so maybe this gives him something to shine. Do Young is an amazing vocalist. They have members, maybe Yuta can take Jaehyun's line. I think that they have competent talent because SM trains people. I do think, they have competent talent that could step in and fill in and zhuzh when needed. You know what I mean?
Why do we think Jaehyun decided to enlist in the military band versus the other avenues other idols and members of NCT have decided to go?
As a fan of this man, I think he just wants to do his service and mind his business. And he knows that he is good with music, and he found that there was a spot for him in the military where he can do what he does best, and that is what he is going to do.
And I love a girl that says, yes, I'm going to go do my service, but then keep the skills intact. Because, she going to perform, she going to give. Zhuzh is a full-time job. So if you find a way to give it, give it.
And we also know that many idols, the second they get out the military, it is back to the stage and back to the fan meets. So he's probably also, and probably SM is like, hey, is there any way we can keep his vocals warmed up for when he gets back?
What do we think about the criticism he's getting from fans who's saying he's choosing to do the easiest military career?
Mind your business. It's not your military service. You know what I mean?
You know, even in the States as an American, we have bands in different facets of our armed forces, and we have even dancers in our NYPD, for those of you that know. So, you know, everyone serves in their own way, and if that's his way to serve, that is his way to serve.
Talking about idols that served, we had a couple of them make appearance at Milan Fashion Week. We're first going to talk about the idols that attended the Prada show. So we have Jaehyun, aespa's Karina, and the group Hyphen. What do we think of their looks?
Okay, so when it comes to Junghyun, I love the look. It's simple, clean. I love the hair. He looks great as a blonde. I want more blonde him. Karina, pretty. It's a very simple dress. She's giving her bust down with the center part that Karina gives. I actually, no lie, really liked Hyphen. I loved Junwoo's look with the green turtleneck. I think that's my favorite look. Green is my favorite color. When I loved my fellow Cancer sis, Mr. Sunu. Also, it's Prada, so, you know, I don't expect much from Prada sometimes.
I think Jaehyun is, well, I mean, I'm biased, literally. But Jaehyun is my favorite look from the Prada show. I like Karina's dress, and I know that, you know, it's most likely that Prada sent a few looks, and then this is the one that, you know, SM and Karina landed on. But it's beautiful gowns, but I almost wish there was a little more. And, you know, sometimes we say that about Prada as a brand overall.
Doesn't it feel like more like a cocktail, like a Prada cocktail moment?
It's almost like if she was like the director of like influence in social media in South Korea, and she was like Prada corporate going to the Prada show, as opposed to like an idol going to the Prada show. And first of all, I love Karina. She's actually my bias in aespa. It's just that, give me a little oomph, give me a little logo, give me a little moment, give me a little pearl, something Prada. And with Jaehyun, I think the reason why I like it so much isn't just because it's him in like the outfit. And it's all black, but all of the black pieces are different fabrics, so it gives it some dimension. Yeah, so it's like textures, dimension, and even tone, because even though it's all black, like the way the light hits it can like affect kind of the, you know, the hints of like gray from the reflection of the jacket, and versus like the satin, you can see a little bit the depths of like maybe even a little blue under there and like a bluish black. Like there's something to work with. And then of course Hyphen has different silhouettes they're all playing with. Some have different colors. You even have an all pink look, a little bit of green, like there's a little color pop here and there. So together there's kind of a little more intrigue. And I wish they gave Karina a little more.
I will say I love Karina's hair though. It's so beautiful.
Well, the last time I saw a photo of her without the extensions, she has a little bit more of like a shaggy wolf cut kind of going on. And I wish, and I know that because SM is very like pristine, clean cut when it comes to like their looks on their idols that are women. But I kind of wish they kind of didn't use as many extensions or played into that like wolf cut, and then also added like one of the Prada satin headbands that they have a million of. You know, like, you know, give me a concept, give me a story outside of cocktail hour.
It's giving not a star showing up to an event. It's giving Karina's meeting up with some of her rich girlfriends, and they're just gonna have like a lunch. You know, question. With Hyphen, how do we feel about groups? Do we feel like groups have to coordinate, or how do we feel about groups not coordinating?
I think it depends.
It definitely depends on the group, especially with Hyphen, for the generation that they're in, being such a high profile group. They don't necessarily have to be like matchy or super coordinated. Like them showing up as a collective is already the coordination. And that took my breath away, literally. I was like, but, you know, I think that, you know, there's kind of an overall corporate-esque vibe going on, and that vibe kind of radiates throughout each member of the group. And even still within each member's individual look, there's a few moments where I wish there was a little more, but again, that's more on styling and the Prada pieces available at the moment.
I don't know. I think because, you know, I'm not aging myself, but growing up in like the boy group, girl group era, of like Destiny's Child, Backstreet Boys, like the Pussycat Dolls. Like I'm just used to groups having some sort of, because you know who does it really? Stray Kids does this really well, where even though they're not wearing the same thing, there's still a level of cohesion and like, oh, this is a group zhuzh. I just would like N-hyphen, because again, all the looks individually are fab. I just want a little bit of we're a group.
And the thing is, that's why I definitely mention the companies when I mention this, because with N-hyphen, they are under like the Hive umbrella. And if there's anything we've noticed from Hives in styling a group, we're getting a little bit of Fifth Harmony styling action. I'm just going to say that. But with JYP artists, for the most part, when they have a group concept, they know how to do a costume to a concept. JYP throughout the years, there are many things great that we could say about JYP artists, but especially when it comes to their costuming and styling, they know how to make sure that their group looks like a cohesive group.
Talking about JYP artists, let's transition to some more celebrities that were at Milan Fashion Week. So we had Hyunjin actually appear for Versace's show. We had Momo from Twice at Onitsuka Tiger, and BTS's Jin attend Gucci. Before we get into their outfits, I just want to say that some of the most mentioned celebrities at Milan Fashion Week: first place Jin, second place N-hyphen, and third place Jaehyun. Versace prepared 8 looks for Hyunjin for the Versace show, and apparently it's the most they've ever prepared for anyone. And as we know, Donatella herself has called Hyunjin the Versace prince, so you know, she definitely gave him that experience.
Can I just say, I love that he's the it boy. I've lived for him since that Stray Kids reality show back in the day. I just aged myself. Again, he's stunning. This is a very typical Versace look. I mean, if you know Versace, it's a lot of loud prints, vibrant colors, leathers, silk, satin. And so it's very Versace. Is he naturally that pale? Because I feel like it's something about these warm tones against his pale skin that is just throwing me off a little bit. I kind of wish I would have done maybe a different color. He is Snow White, you know? And so I would have maybe done that same outfit, maybe in like black or gray, something to really complement his skin tone. The outfit itself is good, but it's just, he reads very much as a bright winter. And so for me, the outfit is definitely giving like warm autumn, dark summer. I just would have liked the coloring to be a little different, but the outfit itself is stunning.
I mean, in true angel fashion, Hyunjin is, in fact, one of my biases in Stray Kids. He actually started out as a bias wrecker for me and then just wrecked his way to the bias line because I was just like, why not? So I'm automatically biased that he looks absolutely amazing, but he also just knows how to make a statement without saying much. Like anyone that stands Hyunjin, stands Stray Kids, knows that Hyunjin is like a master of expression through his body. So just by even simply just like posing, trying to walk down the stairs and not fall, he just looks like an amazing Versace prince that he is. And wearing Donatella Versace just, you know, embodies and embraces that flowy look. So I think he looks great.
I also like seeing the interactions he had with other celebrities at Fashion Week. You know, whenever we see K-pop idols, they usually tend to stick to themselves and just be quiet. But Hyunjin is one of those rare idols that I see interact and strike up conversation with other celebrities. And I think that's really fun to actually see because we need more of those interactions. Yeah, K-pop is a global sensation and we need these stars to start stepping up and acting like global superstars. So congratulations to Hyunjin because he definitely gave us a moment. Now I actually want to move on to Momo's outfit. First, I would like to say Momo is my bias in Twice, and I have to say she disappointed me with this look. I think that this outfit ages her too much. I understand she's trying to go for like the old Hollywood glam aesthetic, but this coat is just so bulky and heavy on her frame. And throughout the entire show, she had to hold on to her coat. There was not a single shot of her just posing naturally. And I know she's wearing the actual designer of this, and this is kind of like what they're known for. But personally, I did not like this look at Momo at all. Love her hair. I love that she went back to her blonde era. Yeah, and then you have like this ugly brooch in the middle. I think the stylist thought it would make it look pretty, but it actually makes it look even older for her. Like, I don't like this look at all.
Okay, so I feel like it was trying to give like that sort of Dior sort of Burberry trench dress. I think what's throwing me off the look, and this is where I think styling dropped the ball, is I would have liked maybe like a nasty belt or something, because I feel like if she had a good emphasis on the waist and it nipped her in, because Momo has a beautiful shape, I feel if she had something to nip it in and just give her shape, it would have elevated it. I do agree the brooch is a little ugly. If they wanted to incorporate jewelry, I would have done like some cut ball drop earrings, like some long, and maybe some rings would have really done it.
I don't like the length either. Like, it just stops at her knees. And I feel like maybe if it was a little longer, it would have given us a moment. If it had like a long train, like if you're gonna wear something like this, like it needs to be a little bit more exaggerated and not just cut off short, like the way it's cut at her knee.
If there was like an undercoat that gave the dress like a shape and it would have jetted out, so instead of like up and down, if like the skirt was coming out like a little bit like this and had some flair to it, I think that would have helped. I'm fine with the length, but I think you can't have a baggy coat and that matronly length. You kind of have to pick a struggle.
I was going to say the styling for this one is, and just after I complimented you, JYP stylist, but that's for group looks, not individual. Especially seeing like the looks that actually got sent down the runway. I feel like there are other pieces that better suit not like her personal vibe and aesthetic, but the one that's been pushed for so long is like, you know, showing off her curves. And like, yes, she has this blonde bob, but like there was a number that went down the runway that had kind of like a base that was a bit more solid with like a sheer overlay. And like, let's say if, you know, she wore something like that and then threw the coat on open as sort of like a faux shawl kind of moment, that would have been nicer, just to have her play into that with like, and even like, her ankles are tired. She has been dancing in heels since she walked into JYP's studio for the first time. Let the woman wear like a boot or a sneaker. Like, give us a fun edge if that's something fun and different that you want to do. I feel like they just kind of took a coat off the runway and just like pinned it in a bunch of different places to kind of make a dress on her, when there were already some ready to wear items that they could have just pulled from and, you know, styled it in a way that made it look ready for the show instead of just adding a brooch and going, oh, that's it.
Let's move on and discuss Jin's look. This is his first public appearance for Gucci. What do we think?
I do like this look. I love this sort of dark reddish brown burgundy with the more paler brown. I like the boots. I like the cut. My only thing though is I feel like the look is wearing him and he's not wearing it. Like, it's something about it where I don't know if maybe because, you know, Gucci might be a little bit out of the realm of his personal, because when I think of Jin, I don't necessarily think this. I think this is a really great way to step out of his comfort zone, but I just feel like he's not selling it. It's giving very much like, I'm just here taking a photo. It's not, I'm here, I'm serving a look. And I think that's what's throwing me off.
Well, Jin was the most mentioned celebrity on Twitter, and armies are now hailing him as the face of Gucci.
This is coming from an army. If those of you have listened to this podcast several times, know this already. But when it comes to Gucci, I feel like within the world of Gucci and all of the creative direction that it's gone through over the years, I feel like they could have leaned into the Gucci suiting like they did for like the waist down. And even though it was a little bit warm during this time, instead of putting him in this kind of like obscure knit, maybe this is something they've been trying, they wanted to sell and they were like, we don't know how to sell it, put it on someone who's really popular and then we'll sell out of it. I wish instead they did like a white button down, because I feel like Jin with this look, with the pants and the shoes that he already has, was just a crisp like Gucci white button down where it might have like a billowy sleeve or something. Like, I just feel like a crisp white top would have made this look so much better than this like knit. And if we were gonna go knit, I feel like the bottom half should have been less structured. I understand what maybe styling was trying to go for, of like, you know, a little difference in texture, but trying to create a connection between like the burgundy and the red in the top. But for me, there's just a bit of a disconnect styling wise. And I think that either playing into the upper half or the lower half individually would have made it much stronger, rather than just kind of like trying to go off a color combo.
Jin also had a few awkward moments. So there's this video that went viral on Twitter that showed him standing taking photographs, but only a single light went off. And there was also another video that went viral, but that was taken down because the person who posted it was an army. And then once they saw how it made Jin look bad, they took it down immediately. But that video showed Jin sitting. The celebrities beside him were interacting and talking amongst each other. And Jin was just sitting there awkwardly to himself, quietly. So do we think that idols need to take a little bit of a break before they immediately jump into these schedules as something like attending a fashion week event? Or K-pop idols need to make more in an effort to socialize in these events that they attend?
So I will defend Jin. It's happening. He just got out of the military not too long ago. Also, I think for him, this is probably one of the first times that he is actually stepping out as Jin and not Jin of BTS. And I think it could be awkward to sort of step in these moments by yourself because he's probably used to having other group members. He's probably used to, having that support system. It is very daunting to sort of go through this. And also, I don't know, does Jin speak English? I don't think Jin speaks English fluently. And it is probably a little awkward for him to be sitting at these fashion shows. He doesn't have like a band member there that can maybe help him speak English, or he doesn't have someone that's also Korean there to sort of it is kind of awkward for him. And like I said, Jin, I think him coming out of the military and now stepping into Jin, the solo entity, it's going to take him some growing pains. So I think this was his first solo appearance in a long time. Let us give him some moment. Next fashion week, we'll pull it together. But I'll give him, because I understand how much anxiety he probably felt in that moment.
I almost feel like Gucci kind of cut the biggest check when Jin came out of the military, and someone from Big Hit was probably like, we have a member coming out who wants to be his clothing brand, make him a global ambassador. And Gucci probably wrote the biggest check because, in my opinion, in the way that Jin dresses, I think that Ferragamo or Burberry kind of suits him a bit more, because the way looking at how V has been swelling up in the military, I don't know what's going to happen when he gets back, but V pre-military, I feel like stylistically aligns a bit more with Gucci. So even just I feel like it really does have to come down to styling and overall just presence being there, because Jin is also just an introverted person. He doesn't want to be in public spaces for too long. He likes to just talk to army, do his own thing, and just live his best life. That's what he likes to do, or at least that's what we think he likes to do, because we only know what we know. So overall, I think that Jin went to Gucci and did his job and did what he had to do. He attended the show, he stopped by the after party, and then he went about his Jin ways.
On the opposite spectrum, we have some armies that are hailing him as the face of Gucci and undermining the success of other K-pop idols that have had with the Gucci brand, such as EXO's Kai. And I would just like to take a moment to say, since our podcast does cover not only K-pop news, but also the fandom spectrum, I would like to say that while this should be applauded, let's remember to celebrate the accomplishments of your favorite K-pop idol without tearing other idols for petty fan wars. Kai has a huge legacy with Gucci that I don't think fans of K-pop don't really understand because they're not fans of EXO. So I would just like to give him a shout out. Let's not forget that Kai was the first idol to collaborate with a luxury fashion brand. He had his own collection. See, this wasn't done under a group effort. We did have G-Dragon collaborate with Nike, but Gucci is a luxury fashion house. Not only did he have his own collection with Gucci, he did several fashion campaigns with the brand as well. Not only that, but he was set to introduce Gucci's first show in South Korea last year, but was unable to attend due to his military service. So while I would say that there's enough space in the fashion space to include other K-pop idols for a brand, but let's not undermine the success and the work that other idols have put under these brands.
As someone that wants to give their flowers to everyone, remember Jay Park was a Gucci ambassador at one point. Henny, but also IU is also a Gucci ambassador. Shimina, well, she was famously in the drama Hometown Cha Cha Cha. amazing actress. So there's been other Korean celebrities that has done Gucci outside of Jin and Kai. To do away with these fan wars, I think we should include other people into this conversation. Like I said, IU, Shin Mina, Henny. Throughout Gucci's tenure in recent years, they have done amazing strides with including Korean celebrities as brand ambassadors and adding to the diversity in fashion that we need right now. And so I do think just giving Jin this credit doesn't just take away from Kai, it takes away from other amazing Korean celebrities that has broken down doors for Korean entertainers now and in the future.
So that is unfortunately the end of this episode. But if you would like to listen to our closing debate, head over to our YouTube channel. We are the K-Pop Bible. I won't spoil it for you, but let's just say our debate gets very heated. To summarize, we'll be debating whether or not more K-pop idols need to come out for LGBT plus rights in South Korea to progress. On top of this, we'll also air another bonus video reviewing new K-pop releases. Thank you for tuning into this episode. We'll see you guys next week.